Well, hi again. This is Brian Knight from Pragmatic Works, and today I'm here with our company mascot, Mac, who I'll introduce first, and then also our COO, Tim Mulick. Tim, today we're going to talk about a concept that you talked to me about a long time ago, 5 years ago about.
That's right,
Tell me
yeah.
about the concept.
Well, it's called Beaches, Waves, Surfers, and Surfboards, and it's kind of a fun exercise to use when we're talking about technology and we're talking about innovation in the IT space. Now, guys like Mac might be an expert when it comes to Alpo and dog food, but when it comes to IT, you've got to be looking for guys like Brian.
Well, let's go to the whiteboard and let's kind of discuss the concept behind this.
I'd be happy to do that. Let's do it.
Sounds good.
All right.
I love this concept because this is how you and I met ultimately. So in the days that you and I met, our beach was SQL Server.
That's right, Brian. And one of the mistakes people make is they tend to follow companies and not necessarily the technologies within the company. So if you think about it, people don't use Microsoft. They use Microsoft SQL Server. Or
Right.
They use Windows. So it's very good. Yes, you're right. The beach here would be SQL Server.
Okay, so what is the wave in this case then?
Well, the wave, back when you and I met, we understood that there was a change between SQL Server 2000 and 2005.
Okay.
And what was that change?
Well, the change back then in 2000, 2005 was the that technology DTS to SSIS conversion. So it's about getting the old stuff to the new stuff.
That's correct. And the way we identified that change as a wave was we realized there was a challenge with upgrading that technology from DTS to SSIS, something that customers would have to deal with, and only guys like Brian, a surfer, would know well enough to go ahead and manage.
So the trick here was we wanted to find somebody who knows about that change, that wave coming, and what do we do with them?
Well, basically at that point, you're going to see people in the industry who understand that there's a challenge. And many of the people will talk about the problem, but they won't talk about the solution. You want to find guys like Brian, and not to just talk about you, but this is an example of how we got together. Guys like Brian who not only talk about the problem, but talk about the solution and actually create solutions, which I call surfboards.
Okay, so our solution in this case was DTS Exchange. Exchange,
yeah.
And this was the software that we wrote
to
convert DTS packages on the SQL Server Beach.
You're right.
So a more generic example might be, Tim, healthcare. For example, there's a lot of regulatory things that are coming, a lot of demands on making things electronic, billing records. So what will be a wave there? So the beach in that case would be like healthcare. Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's right. That's a good example today, especially in the United States with things like Obamacare, where there are regulatory changes coming down on all businesses, not just the large businesses, but small businesses, and changes that we don't know about. So in healthcare, you wouldn't put the word healthcare as the beach. You would put regulatory changes as a beach.
Okay.
And then you would look to say, what are the changes in the regulatory?
Okay, so electronic bill records. Everything's got to convert from paper to electronic.
That's a good example. Okay. Another good example is sort of refunds back into the business and things that we've experienced ourselves. And how do you manage those refunds? There's a problem there. You'll get a lot of people that are surfers that will talk about the problem. So you got to go find the guy who's talking about the solution.
Right. So I'm not a surfer in this. I'm a user of this, but not a surfer. And then our surfboard in this case might be a new tablet application that will help people manage that electronic bill record.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Cool. You might see that. You might see somebody who comes up with a tablet application. They might come up with an application or a methodology to deal with it as a service, some way to handle that problem. But you want the surfers are the guys who are going to bring the solutions to the problem, not just talk about the problem.
Brilliant. So this whole concept, beaches, you get a big wave. If you get a big wave on this beach, you're going to try to tackle. You find the person that can do that wave, and you build some kind of better rat trap for that.
Right.
But the biggest trick we found with companies is as we kind of started with companies, you don't want to leave that beach until you completely conquer the beach.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So, for example, we know in the SQL Server space, if you were to look at SQL Server Central or even our own data that we have internally or talk to Microsoft, that there's well over 100,000 people, accounts out there that run SQL Server in their business. So that definitely justifies a beach. That's a very good example, Brian. Because, many times you might say, "Oh, that's a beach, that's a beach." But if you know, at least in our world, that you don't have more than say 10,000 accounts that actually justify or use that technology or are impacted by that change, that may not necessarily be a beach.
So it also in our company, it'd be the equivalent of us joining the company to a new beach might be the equivalent of us starting making dog food all of a sudden.
Yes.
We don't know how to do it.
Right.
People don't associate our company with that, and it's one of the biggest mistakes we can make as a company is to jump to a new beach too soon or to jump to a new beach at all.
That's right. And in fact, to have some fun around dog food, we might hear something in the next few years or so that says, "Hey, dogs are getting a deficiency of calcium or something like that," right? And we recognize that that's a challenge in the industry, and people will talk about that challenge. But there may be somebody out there who comes up with a way to inefficiently and cost-effectively deliver calcium into dog food. if you were to get into that, you would say, okay, our beaches are, the dogs that are out there and the fact that they obviously need to eat. The wave is they're not getting enough calcium.
Yep.
There's a guy out there who recognizes a way to deliver calcium to the dogs.
Right.
And then what is the product that we need to put out there?
Absolutely.
To sell as a surfboard.
And then this whole concept of not jumping beaches is a big thing first. So once you come up that beach and you do that, don't go to a new beach until you own it also.
That's right, yeah. And replicate, you're right, that's right. Learn on this beach and then take that and replicate the process.
Wave after wave after wave.
Correct.
Well, cool, Tim. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you. I hope this is helpful and fun.